What's up, everyone? Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you like what you see. Please hit that subscribe button and that notification button for more updates, movie reviews, as well as short films that I've created over time and post up. And to those who have been watching my videos, thank you. Your support means a lot. And let's get straight to it. This is my Sinners review. It stars Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, as you know, who are both great in the film. And shout out to Delroy Lindo. And just all the actors are great. It's set in 1932 in Mississippi. Michael B. Jordan plays two brothers who are just coming from Chicago, I believe, and they were working for Al Capone, so they were doing, business, gangster business there, and they're coming back with money, and they want to start I believe it's called a juke, like their own like farm. It's set like in a barn, but got music and drinks and dance and just like a whole little setup. And basically the vampires don't show up till later on, but I was really invested in the characters that Michael B. Jordan, the brothers who he played. Like I would like to know more backstory. Like if they had a spin-off, a prequel set back when they were in Chicago, had nothing to do with vampires, but their dealings in Chicago. Like I would be invested in watching that. That's how great the characters were. They had that backstory that you're aware of, that I would want to see. Like I was just so invested with that. So if you didn't want to get into a horror vampire thing, but you want to get into a gangster piece still with them, like I would still watch that. I thought that was pretty cool, and leading them up to going back home to Mississippi. But I really thought the film was great. Again, the cast was great, and the vampires, they don't show up. At least the one vampire doesn't show up till later on. He's burning in the sun. He's being chased, and he confronts this couple, turns them into a vampire after being, rescued from, I guess, Native Americans that were hunting him. And the people that held him there were telling the Native Americans that he's not, there's nothing there in the house. Nobody came. And even though they were warned, the lady was warned, she's like, nobody's there. Nobody came. And after they leave, because the sun is going down, the lady is looking for her husband. He doesn't say nothing, and apparently he was bit by the vampire, and he would eventually turn, and she gets turned. And when the two brothers have their cousin, who's pretty much, I would say, like the main character in the film, he plays the music. He's the preacher's son. He ends up deciding not to listen to the father and go with his cousins, Michael B. Jordan's characters, the brothers, to this juke spot because he would provide music and whatnot. So in the course of the film, after they set everything up, get people going to this place, and he's there, and Michael B. Jordan's characters, the brothers are there. Haley Steinfeld shows up when obviously she had a thing with one of the brothers, and she's married, and she just ends up showing up, and he wants nothing to do with her. The brother, I believe is Stax is his name. She ends up showing up, and she's the only white person there, and it's predominantly a black, investment, and, people based on that, it's just for them. And, they're just having a good time. And the cousin, he plays the music, and there's a scene where there's like past and future, present people showing up within that scene as it's going around. And the idea is that there's lore in the beginning where music invites, I guess, spirits or so, the future and the past and the present, and it just invites that, but also invites demons or something of that nature, the music. And I thought that was, interesting take. It's something that I've heard in real life, how music can be influential in that degree, whether you believe in that or not. I've heard stuff like that, and how I feel like even if it's demonic music, how that can be inviting. But I thought, from what I've heard in other reviews, like music was a big thing in this film, and the music is great in the film, but I didn't really get that feeling of the purpose of the music and showing the past and present and future, because it made it seem like, the demon mentions he heard the cousin, I forget his name, how he heard him playing the music from far, and it brought him in. So that would be the idea of, like, music can kind of call in spirits, evil spirits or demons or whatever the heck, these are vampires. But I don't know if it really played to that. And I really wanted to see more within the music aspect, because I figured while they were, because he's the only vampire with the couple that he turned. And then when the one guy goes off or Haley goes off to, you know, confront the 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 vampire before they don't even know they're vampires. They want them to come in the barn, but you can't come in unless you're invited if you're a vampire. That's what they went with this, which, you know, that's been a thing for vampire films or shows. Vampires can't come in unless they invite them in. But because they didn't want nothing with them, you know, Stacks and his, you know, brothers or anybody, they're like, nah, you gotta get out, you gotta leave, we don't need you. Haley decides, you know what, for money's sake, it would be best that we invite them and we might attract more people, you know, with money. And she ends up getting bit. And she's, you know, comes back to the barn by herself, messes with Stacks, ends up biting him, as you've seen. If you haven't seen it already, then, you know, obviously this is a spoiler. Turns him into a vampire. Now, the other guy that was the bodyguard of the spot, he ends up going to pee. He gets bit, so now everyone's getting bit. Now that Stacks isn't there, he's runs off, and people are told, you gotta go, because they don't know what's going on. The brother, he just knows he sees Stacks dead, and this girl just bit him, and he thought he killed her. She ended up not being dead and running off, and people are leaving the place, but in the midst of leaving the barn, they don't know what's going on. They're just told to leave. They ended up getting bit by the vampires out there, and now they're all, the main handful of people in the barn are trapped because the vampires are out there. And the one lady, the Asian lady, she's like, they're going to go into the town and kill my daughter. They threatened that because her husband got killed because he went to go get the car, and, you know, the vampires got the memory, so they know the daughter's there, and she's getting crazy, the wife, and she tells them, come in, because she's like, she wants to kill them all. But in doing that, she risks the lives of the other people in the barn because you invited them in. Now they got to fight for them, you know, themselves. But and then it was great, you know. But my thing is, if you've seen From Dusk Till Dawn, it's an original movie, but it didn't really feel original. You had, again, if you've seen From Dusk Till Dawn, you know what I'm talking about. The two brothers. You feel like it's a movie where they're holding hostage these people, and they end up going to the bar, and it's vampires. Here, you know, it's gangsters. They're trying to set up this juke spot, and later on, it's a vampire movie. But unlike From Dusk Till Dawn, you kind of knew it was a vampire movie from the trailers. I don't remember the trailer in From Dusk Till Dawn if they mentioned that. But so to me, it didn't feel as original, but it was still original in itself. Again, the acting is great. But my biggest thing for the film was the music, which was mentioned in a lot of reviews how it was very impactful and great, but I didn't really feel it much story-wise. Like, it was mentioned, you know, again, the past and the future, and, you know, invites demons or soul spirits, evil spirits or whatever. But I didn't really feel like that's what it was, the purpose of the vampires, because apparently the vampire was getting chased from the Native Americans, like, who you don't hear from at all. You don't see them again. Like, I would like to know, not that you need to know the lore of the vampires or where he came from, the main one, and, like, normally some things are better left unsaid and just keep it as a mystery, but I kind of wanted to know, like, the backstory to this guy and how and where. I felt like the music really didn't add to anything other than what it was mentioned of what music can do. So I guess I was expecting a lot more based off all reviews that I've heard. So I kind of like hyped myself up for it to be a great film, because apparently I've read like it was Avengers level type of film, and I'm just like watching it. I'm like, it's not that level. But overall, I did enjoy it. But like I said, I just expected more, and I think that's kind of what took away from me. Had I not read these reviews or heard these reviews, I probably would have appreciated it a little bit better. But my only thing, again, was the music. Like, I felt like it, with that lore in the beginning when they mentioned it, I thought it was going to involve something, maybe not time travel, but something from the future or from the past where it helped them fight these vampires. I thought that would have been cool and unique. But nothing of that nature happened. It was just like, oh, I'm playing the music. You see the past, present, future, and then the mentioning of the vampire, like, oh, I heard your music and I want you, and it's like, but it didn't really amount to anything in that. But overall, again, the characters were great. the lead up to the film of the vampires coming in and the ending. I thought it was all done well, and it was unique in itself. Check it out for yourself. If you like film, if you like movies, if you like art, I know some people have read reviews where I wouldn't watch it because it's titled Sinners, and their belief and their faith, and they feel like it's just not a good thing to invite. And me personally, like, I believe in God. I have, it's my faith, and I'm not affected when it comes to movies as such, because to me it's just a work of art. It's just fiction. I know certain things, it's like I shouldn't watch or do, and that's, I get it. But for something like a movie like this, it's like I'm not bothered by that. And I guess, to each their own. Whatever you're bothered by, if it doesn't sit well with you, then obviously you don't expose yourself to that. But for me personally, I'm not bothered by this type of film. And again, I don't really go into so much of meaning behind people's work, and to me, I prefer it that way because I'm not taken out of it. I just see it for what it is, and I don't try to like figure out too much of the purpose of why something's done the way it is. But overall, I like Ryan Coogler. I think he does great work, and especially he works with Michael B. Jordan. He's done that a few times. I like it, and they work together. So I give it 2 thumbs up. I recommend it. I just feel like the movie was a little overhyped, and I was disappointed because I expected more because of the hype that I was seeing. But that's not to say that the movie isn't worth the hype. Just that, again, maybe a little too overhyped. But I liked it. I recommend it. 2 thumbs up. Check it out if you haven't. If you like vampire movies, it's a great addition to add. Especially the timepiece and great characters. So check it out. That's my review. Until next time. Later.